Hi, friends. Welcome back. So, I want to tell you the state of the US economy in one simple sentence. Google is firing, but Walmart is hiring. And that's exactly what it is. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. Here's some headlines. Google CEO says more job cuts are needed in 2024 in order to reach, quote, ambitious goals. But remember, I told you Walmart is hiring. Walmart is the headline. Walmart is boosting the average store manager salary to 128,000. And it's interesting when you contrast these things because I've told you guys before several times on the channel, regardless of what national numbers say, regardless of what the Fed says, et cetera, it all depends on what's happening in your neck of the woods, right? So if you are at Google and you get an email from your boss and your boss is like, we got to make some cuts. It's just not working out. We're not bringing in the money that we used to be bringing. Bye-bye. And you're like, oh my God, right? And this is why I'm saying it matters when your neck of the woods. Or the unemployment may say, oh, everything's great, unemployment is low, et cetera, but you may not be getting the, plush and great jobs that you once were, right? Google is firing, Walmart is hiring. I feel like we're in a sort of a phase of downsizing. Moreover, we have that threat of AI, which could replace a lot of people, automation, these kind of things. And also, too, we have the slowdown in the Chinese economy. This affects everyone. Not, I understand if you're in USA, you're like, why do I care about China? Because, you need to have a market to sell things to. Moreover, you need a market that makes stuff that you buy from, right? It's just part of living in the global world. The other thing too, which I want to point out with the Walmart stuff, there's some really fascinating details regarding this. Let's read through this together. So evidently before, Walmart's offering 128,000 a year. Before, I guess they were offering, 117, and that's addition to a 9% raise. They also said that, this is interesting, they're redesigning the bonus program for managers. Store profits will play a bigger role in calculating annual bonuses. And I personally don't know any managers at Walmart. So if anyone, is doing this job or, has friends that do this kind of stuff, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. The bonus thing is very interesting. So they're saying here bonuses could be up to 200% of the manager's base pay. So it's actually not, if you, get the 200% thing, it's actually not a bad salary. Here's the negative though, and this is just my understanding of retail as a whole. You got to deal with all kinds of crazy people working with you. One is you got the crazy customers coming into the store, and two, you got crazy employees that don't show up to work, et cetera. And moreover, and this is also just talking about Walmart as a company, they were known for years to abuse their employees. So also too, you may have to be part of a corporate system that is all about exploiting people. I know I'm being kind of mean to Walmart, but I'm just telling you the truth in this stuff. If you don't know, they used to tell, this would be like a regular practice, they would tell their employees to clock out and then keep working overtime with no pay, essentially. It wasn't so great. This is saying here, this is kind of interesting when you read more details about this. Walmart hasn't made any change in pay for store managers in more than a decade. So it's actually been a long time since they've gotten a raise. It's a lot, more than a decade. It says here, store sales were a major factor in determining bonuses, and managers could receive up to 150% of their base. So upping it from 150 to 200% of your base regarding, the store sales thing. And also you're getting a raise of 9%. Now, the one thing I think is a little bit disingenuous, just a little bit here, or a lot, depending on how you look at it. Okay, yes, they're upping your possible bonus, but if everything slows down, then the bonus is nothing, because remember, bonus is based on store performance. And how much does a manager actually, can they really boost their store's performance if people in your neighborhood aren't shopping there anymore, or there's too much theft, which is a very real thing for retail these days. If you take a look at this is the last part. Retailers have struggled with retention as workers increasingly face unruly customers and store theft. And the unruly customer one, I laugh at this because this represents USA to me. And I'll just be honest with you guys. I grew up in Oregon. We actually didn't have Walmarts when I was a kid. I think today they do. We used to go to this place called Fred Meyer, which is pretty awesome. Ask anyone from Oregon. I don't know if they have Fred Meyer in Washington. I just don't know, because I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Oregon. But Fred Meyer was kind of like a Walmart. It's like a grocery store in a multi-brand shop, and we were just locally owned, and had everyone like Fred Meyer. And then I remember when I went to the Walmart for a first time, in the Midwest somewhere, and I was like, what the heck is this crappy store? I know I'm being really mean to Walmart, but Walmart's kind of a lower class store. I don't mean to be mean. It just is. Moreover, on the plus side for Walmart, I have heard some of these like Dollar Tree, Walmart, TJ Maxx, these kind of discount retailers saying that Many people in upper income brackets are actually trading down and shopping more at these kind of places because the economy is not so good. So theoretically, Walmart could really do well in a recession. I'm just being honest with you. Theoretically, they totally could, because again, people aren't going to be shopping at the more expensive ones. Because here's an example: Macy's is cutting jobs. So these kind of department stores, and the Macy's kind of a crappy place too. I'm so mean. I just it's really hard to explain. I tried to show you guys my life here. I live in Korea, but if you saw kind of our shopping experience here, which I do make videos of, but not many people watch these videos because they just want to hear about their Bitcoin and their Dogecoin. But I'm just telling you the truth. A lot of the stores in USA are run down, right? You have employees that are actually understaffed. That's a big problem at these kind of stores. And so like you guys know this, you go and you to the department store and there's like one worker on the whole floor and you can't find anyone to help you, that kind of thing. And the carpet's torn up. It's a little bit dirty. This is shopping in USA. The workers, they aren't so friendly usually. And to be fair to the workers, they don't get paid that much, right? Because you're dealing with shrinking margins, and this is just the reality. You can buy stuff online. Why, mess with this department store stuff when you get a cheaper price online and you get exactly what you want? You don't have to be shuffling around the store or pay for parking, all that kind of stuff. I don't think we're necessarily going to completely replace the in-store shopping experience, but some of these stores may not survive if you're dealing with recession hits hard and people don't have any money to go buy this kind of stuff. But yeah, they're cutting jobs over at Macy's. Moreover, you can see here, this is like where they used to be, where they are now. So I guess in the past, if you look at the chart, it's supposed to be like around 2013 at 175,000 employees around. And so now they're saying before layoffs, they were at 94,000. So if the job cuts are about 2,300 jobs, so then now they're getting closer to 90,000 employees. So about half of what they used to be. I know too, we talked about, say, San Francisco. They've been closing a bunch of, I don't remember if it was Macy's. I think it was Nordstrom's. There was like a big shopping mall in San Francisco and then they closed it. There's too much theft. I mean, it's a horrible situation in USA. And it's not just San Francisco, guys. I give you an example because trust me, I know I read comments. People say, "Oh, it's just those San Francisco, California are total." I get it. I read comments. In fact, it's actually interesting. There was a report that came out recently. It was Victoria's Secrets, and they were talking about like the stores that had the most theft, and like the one that had the most was Missouri. It was Kansas City. It was crazy. The point being, and why I'm saying San Francisco, why I'm saying Kansas City, is that don't think theft is just in one part of USA. It's widespread. It is a major issue. Stores like your CVS's and your Rite Aids. I think Rite Aid went bankrupt, right? Yeah. And there's another one, Walgreens. Those stores have like major problems with like people coming in and trying to steal like mouthwash and crap. It's like, I laugh. Again, this is USA. Google is firing, Walmart is hiring, and we have this sort of dearth of problems with theft. And more of I was just what I'm thinking about was the laundry detergent issue. If you guys remember this, the IQ in USA is so low that you had kids going to the store to buy detergent so they could eat it, to show people that they could throw up and eat from eating detergent on YouTube and stuff. It's like what are kids doing? And so they had the stores actually had to lock up the Tide Pod thing. If you guys remember this stuff, so it's so ludicrous. But anyway, I know I'm ragging a bit on the USA today. I'm kind of mean, but I'm just telling you the truth. The situation is not as good as it was. I mean, you can literally see it in the headlines. Google is firing, Walmart is hiring, right? Moreover, I guess the drug makers are going to be raising prices. Not so great. I've mentioned this several times, like, when you're talking about these sort of situations with inflation and stuff like that, everything's connected. So if a company wants to maintain their share price, basically maintain their margins, and you're looking, okay, I need to have people work at my company, I got to pay them more. That's what it is, right? Because my workers are complaining that their rents are too high, their mortgages are too high. They're complaining that used car prices are through the roof. Car insurance is ludicrous. Have you seen the price of that stuff? And so then I got to pay them more. And then if I want to keep my share price, because I want to maintain my margins, then suddenly I'm raising the price of my drugs, which is what this article is about here. You can see drug makers raise prices on Ozempic, Mounjaro, hundreds of other drugs. It's like, it says here, 775 brand name drugs that are raising prices on. And some of these drugs are going to be like your asthma drugs, shingles, cancer drugs, osteoporosis. Could be as high as 7.5% raise. It's expensive. And the world, it feels like the only people who can afford this stuff are someone like Jamie Dimon. And the reason why I mentioned this is like this article just came out January 19, 2024, he's getting a raise, I guess. $36 million a year. What's this? Is JP Morgan Lyft CEO Jamie Dimon paid to $36 million for 2023. So that must be bonuses and stuff like that. So I guess if you're a banker, you're doing all right if you're the CEO. However, the banks as a whole actually have been firing, especially in the mortgage industry. And we even saw some crazy news just the last couple of days we talked about on this channel where Elon Musk is like, yo, pay me more. I'm just not getting enough. Have you seen the prices of hamburgers? He didn't talk about hamburgers, but you get my point though. And unfortunately, it feels like this is just a reality. There is a greater divide between the rich and poor. And I think it's going to continue that way. We talked about that with AI in a previous video where essentially the barrier to entry for better and higher paying jobs is going to get tougher, right? Because you need to learn to use more tools. There was an article recently. It was Arizona State University has made a deal with OpenAI, and what they're going to do is like offer students, more access and ability to use that said program. And so again, the people and the job requirements to have good jobs is going to require more skills. But that just has been going on for a long time. Now what happens is, and I want to tie this into sort of why we see this crazy Bitcoin stuff, is you have this group of people in USA that feel shut out of the system, right? And they're unhappy, et cetera. And the only way they feel that they can get ahead in life is basically just to gamble on this crypto crap. So if you watch YouTube, you see social media, and I'll try to say it as nicely as I can. You have a highly vulnerable group of people that feel like they don't have any future prospects, and so the only way they can get ahead is through gambling. And you guys know who these kind of people are. You see it on YouTube. You can tell by the influencer if they're wearing the backwards baseball hat and the gold chains, and talking like, yo, get those plays, yo, that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of people talk this way. And that's what they're trying to sell you. They're trying to pitch you this crap. And evidently it's all a sham. You can see here, Bitcoin drops to lowest level since approval of ETFs. Current price is 41,000. And there's always people in comments that are down a whole bunch of money and they're trying to convince other people to buy their crap. But it is what it is. Some things aren't going to survive this downturn. I'll give you an example. This is an interesting one. So if you read the headline here, Wendy's taps Kurt Tanner as a new CEO of the burger chain fights off activist pressure. So evidently there's going to be some investor people who are going to try to take over Wendy's. They're called Blackwells. And this kind of stuff used to happen a lot more in the 80s. And there's different things you could do. One is you could try to take it over, reorganize it, or you could try to take it over and sell off the parts, etc. I was thinking about this though. I think there is a high possibility Wendy's doesn't survive. And I'll be curious your guys' thoughts on this, because there's been a new, I don't want to call it sheriff in town, or we'll say deputy, because I think the sheriff is still McDonald's. I think they're still the sheriff. The new deputy though has actually been Chipotle, and Chipotle wants to be sheriff. And it's kind of pushing out these other ones. So like, for example, there was an article, again, guys, I read everything. I try to summarize everything for you, but there was an article a couple days ago where Burger King was closing stores. A lot of their stores are like just not getting enough business, or they're having theft, or moreover, their stores are run down. A lot of USA is like that. I know I'm laughing kind of ragging on USA today, but when I read through all this stuff, it just reminds me of like what I've seen. I've seen it for myself, guys. If you go like to a Wendy's, they're run down. They're not that nice. Whereas in contrast, McDonald's recently, that's been the last couple of weeks, they announced that they're building like these new chain McDonald's. They're going to be kind of closer to like a Starbucks kind of thing. So it's the have and have not. So I wouldn't be surprised if we live in a world where Wendy's doesn't exist anymore. And I'll be curious if you guys go to Wendy's. I just don't think they get the business that other companies do. Another one example I was just thinking about in my head, I never went to Arby's. I've never been about Arby's. And I was like, who goes to Arby's? So, and that could be a regional thing. I grew up in Oregon. I don't know. I knew Arby's existed, but I was just like never figured out who went there. I know I'm being mean to Wendy's, to Arby's, and to Macy's these days. I'm such a mean guy. Moreover, we actually have another related thing, which is actually interesting. Now, this is a Nelson Peltz. He actually talked about this stuff earlier before, trying to take over the board and control over Disney, etc. And then he backed off when they changed CEOs. They went back to the old one. But I guess he's doing it again. I don't think Disney's going to disappear anytime soon. And I get it if you're the, Elon Muskers and those kind of people like, oh, I hate Disney, blah, blah, blah. And yet you're going to go see Star Wars. I promise you will. But evidently, though, they're trying to go for it again. Now, it's not just Disney. Many companies out there way overspent. They just thought the good times were going to go on forever. I'll give you a simple example. I always use the same example, but it's a good one. Netflix, when they made the last season of Stranger Things, it's like the most expensive TV show in history, and it was fantastic. The season, especially the episode where the girls running away from the monster, and they played that cool song running up a hill. You guys know the song. And the thing is, though, is like, yes, it was great, but like it doesn't necessarily justify that you paid 200 million or whatever they paid for this thing. In comparison, if you make a show, say here in Korea, this is Squid Game, which ended up even better ratings than Stranger Things, and you can make that for like 20 million. So you do the math on that. Do you want to pay 200 million for a show? Yes, it's good, but you can get better ratings on paying for a show for 20 million. And I think the downsizing, firing at Google, hiring Walmart, I think this is sort of the reorganization of the economy and what's going on in the world. And I do want to mention this one. Yes, I see this stuff, and I could probably make a separate video about it because people like to talk about Elon Musk. Frankly, I get tired of it, but it's funny to talk about because there's always something crazy going on with him. I think it's Saturday. They're going to make an announcement about his new AI company chatbot thing, or whatever. So that's coming this weekend, and he's claiming that it's going to be better than everything else. That's what he claims. So we'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Remember the last time he claimed that they got this cool robot, and they brought a guy out in a suit, literally a guy like in a costume and dancing around. And then the last robot demonstration was a guy, doing a puppet arm thing. So, the AI robot, for all we know, it's just like they're just gonna use Chat GPT and then like put their logo on top of it, and try to fool people. But don't put it past them. Don't put it past them. You never know with this stuff. So anyway, do appreciate your time and be careful out there. It's a crazy world. Google is firing, but yet Walmart is hiring. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next video.